What up, everybody? You're now tuned into the true definition of a sports fanatic. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, and back again with another good show. Got my man John Reid with me back again, writing for the Florida Times-Picayune, covers the Jaguars, formerly covered the Saints and the Pelicans. Hey, the resume speaks for itself, man. I appreciate you for joining me again.
Good to be on here, Brandon. The hardest working journalist in Jacksonville, right there.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. But tonight we're gonna start the show out, man. Talking about Earl Simmons. Most people know him as DMX. You know, he passed away at the age of 50, and you know, I was younger at his height, but when he came into his own, I was pretty much there for every album, every movie, video. I mean, just entertainment, period. And I mean, you can make the argument that he's probably one of the greatest entertainers that ever lived. Because at his height, I mean, he was everywhere. He was in everything. I was talking to my trainer today, and I said, as far as entertainers is concerned, it's Michael Jackson, Beyonce, 50 Cent, because people don't remember how big 50 Cent was, DMX, and I mean, you can make an argument for anybody else, but he was that good, you know. But you know him, he died from, I think he had a heart attack. And ended up, I guess his family pulled the plug and he ended up passing on. But he was really a tortured soul, man. You listen to his story and what he went through, and it's he beat the odds. Period. Point blank. Yeah, he beat the odds, man.
He was a guy that always spoke with a lot of energy, and he wasn't a bad actor. I mean, I remember he played in that Romeo with Aaliyah in there.
Romeo Must Die.
Yeah, it was in a couple of movies. And man, when he spit it out his raps, boy, you can't say he didn't rap with passion.
Man.
But he always had that high energy, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he was one of the greatest to ever do it, man. And it wasn't just about guns, drugs, women, and all of that. I mean, he told the story very profound in his storytelling. Just one of the best, man. And I'll tell the young people, that I know today. I say, man, y'all wasn't around for that. Young, you don't know much about it. It made me feel old, man. And I could tell kids like, you don't know nothing about this youngster. This before your time, right here. This before your time.
We only talking about the 90s.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh yeah. We're only talking about the 90s, man. Let's see. Hold on.
This just shows you, man, that you really have to appreciate life, man. You never know when it can be taken away, and when you get an opportunity, like he took advantage of an opportunity to come from a tough background, raised in Yonkers. It's a tough childhood. And it speaks a lot for one thing about this country, man. If you can fulfill your if you get an opportunity and you work at it to make the most of it, and that kind of exemplifies him.
Yeah, yes it does. Yes it does, man. He found his niche. He found his passion. I mean, he rode it till the wheels fell off. And everybody should aspire to do that. Find out what you love, find your passion. I mean, and do it till you can't do it anymore.
When you can be an entertainer, I always say this. When you can be a multi-entertainer, when you could go in this, being an entertainer as a rapper and also transform yourself into an actor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's more difficult than what people think.
Oh, it definitely is, man. It definitely is. He was very dedicated to his craft, and I guess he recognized his talents early, and he pretty much took full advantage of it for sure. One of my favorite lines by him, he got his song called "Slippin'," and it's in the beginning. Was the song coming on? He speaks it. He says, "See, to live is to suffer, but to survive, well, that's finding meaning in the suffering." And I've never forgotten that. I heard that I was young when I heard it, and I never forgot it. It encapsulates our time here, and what are you doing with your time? Are you living or are you surviving?
Hey, man, you know what, man? When you have a person like him, and he could impact you in a way where it's things that he say that you can touch and feel and understand it. I mean, his music will be around long after we gone.
Yeah.
And that's how what I judge as an impactful artist, man. Somebody that can, you know, even like someone like Tupac, whether you like them or not, it just his impact it get crossed over to generations. And
Yes,
when
it
you can
did.
have that impact on the words that you speak, and people can feel and touch the words that he speaks, I mean, that's a very powerful thing, man. And I think that DMX had that type of power too. You know,
Yeah.
and we
Yeah.
live in
Yeah.
an
Yeah, he
age
did.
right now where we judge people so much by the cover of the book, but you can't judge anyone by how abrasive they might come across, or just and everybody's story is different, man. Like
Yeah.
what you overcome sometimes impact the way you are. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
you have to live hard edge to survive. And I mean, he DMX lived a hard life. It wasn't an easy
Yes.
road. Boarding
Yeah.
schools and the different things that he had to learn and find out on his own. And it took a person to steer him to music. But once he got steered, I mean, the rest is history. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, man. That's what it's all about, man. But yeah, man, rest in peace to Earl Simmons. Hey, man. Hey, gone but not forgotten for sure.
Definitely,
Yeah.
never will be forgotten.
Never, man.
Music will be around forever.
Yeah, man. All right. So Aaron Rodgers. So let's talk about Aaron Rodgers real quick. So there's a story, an anonymous agent. When you get anonymous quotes, you're getting the real. When people put their name to it, they kind of soft play it. They make it real soft, and they kind of sugarcoat it a little bit. But when they don't have to attach their name to it, they let the chopper sing.
Yeah, you got that right.
So So right now they're talking about his contract and them trying to figure out, what they're going to do moving forward. And the agent, he said, if I was Aaron's agent, I mean, he has more leverage than anybody else in the country. But what can you do in this situation? That's the thing. It's really hard to say without knowing what conversations have occurred, because what I've also heard is Aaron is stubborn, and who knows that they're not offering up a palatable situation that is middle ground. And he's saying, F that, I'm not budging and do it the way I want to do it. So I'm going to assume that some sort of middle ground has been attempted by the Packers. I'm going to assume right now that Aaron is not listening to it. So if I'm Aaron's agent, if I have to cater to my guy and I have to find a way to communicate to my guy, and I have to find a way to make the whole situation palatable for him in his own perception, because his ego is such that if you don't make it that, then there's nothing ever going to happen. And he got a little bit more of his quote, but that's pretty much the gist of it. And I understand exactly where he's coming from and the questioning, but people are going to take this and run with it because it seems like it's been open season on Aaron Rodgers, and some of it is his own doing because the situation with Greg Jennings, he really should have cleaned that up before Greg went public with it, because Greg said he went to him first before he went public, and he declined to talk to him, so he should have cleaned that up. But other than that, man, the other side, I look at it from Aaron's side. Okay, so yeah, I'm stubborn, but how much faith does Aaron have in the Packers to get it right? Because how long have they had a chance to get it right and they haven't got it right? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, Aaron is a guy, and you might disagree with this. I might take it a little other way. I mean, he's a quarterback that has power, man. I mean, I think that a lot of people don't realize that he learned a lot from Brett Favre.
Yes, he
And,
did.
and right now, it seems like some of the things he's reacting some of the things that Brett Favre did in his final few years in Green Bay. But I don't know. I don't know if the passion is still there for him. When a guy starts thinking about, should I be here or we're not doing it the way I think that we should do it, and he has that power and input that everybody in the organization is going to listen to what he has to say, then I mean, obviously the organization got to make a clear statement to Aaron Rodgers that they're serious about winning, or they got to add the right pieces. And this has been going on for a few seasons here. That I mean, I think the way he ended the season kind of put it in suspense whether or not he was going to go back there. And I think he's trying to deliver a message. I don't know if Green Bay is listening. I don't know if Green Bay really feels serious that he would walk away, and I don't know from Aaron Rodgers' standpoint, is it that you want to play somewhere else, or do you just want to simply retire and move on to something else in your life? It just seems like Aaron it looks like he's trying to say something, but I don't know if he's saying it in the right way, or what is the end game for Aaron Rodgers, And when a guy start fudging and making inputs and start sending out mixed signals, it might be time for a change, unless maybe he want to go somewhere else where it feels like they're more serious about putting more pieces around him that they can get over the hump. I thought that Green Bay, in my opinion, was the top team in the NFC. I think they stumbled in Tampa in that game, but the way I saw them play the regular season, and they didn't have any problems with the Saints, on both sides, on both ends of the field. And I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that, and I don't know if Aaron kind of itching. It seems like Aaron is a guy who can, no matter what he put himself into, he look like he's going to be successful. It's like a Jeopardy thing. And when you got a guy who has that type of charisma, he's a charisma type of quarterback. And when you feel like you frustrate, you almost there. Obviously, he want to get back and win another Super Bowl. There is talent in Green Bay, but I don't know if there's enough of it to get them over the hump. And when he's complaining and he's issuing, I mean, he's got a great relationship with the head coach. They listen to each other, they collaborate, they help each other. And, it didn't work out, and I don't know when he's going to reach the point where he says, I don't know if this is going to work here in Green Bay. I might need, if I want to stay, it's just like Rosberg. I mean, when you get to that clock and you about 2-3 years away from retirement or whatever might happen, then you start thinking about, man, I mean, I can't just play this 16, 17 game season and we're knocking at the door, but we can't cross the door. So, I mean, his longevity in the league is. I mean, I think you hear that fat lady singing a little bit, and he's starting to panic that we may not be able to get over this threshold. I may not win another Super Bowl. So, I think both sides. The solution to this is I think both sides got to hear each other, and they do got to put enough talent around him to get them over the hump. I mean, every team. I always say this. Nobody sits stagnant in the NFL. So, if they're not improving, then they're not going to be any better than what they was a season ago. So you got to put talent, get the defense together, whatever it is, get it together. I mean, he's a great talent, and I can't even visualize myself seeing him on another franchise. I mean, so long.
I can't either. I can't either, man. But if they look at Brady and look at what Tampa Bay has done for Brady, I mean, that's your blueprint right there. That's where you start from. And Aaron, and you're right. Aaron's football life is staring him in the face. He's closer to the end than he is the beginning. And like you said, it looks like whatever he chooses to go into, he's going to be pretty successful at it because he's going to work at it like he did becoming a quarterback. I mean, even though the coaches did help, his dedication to rework his whole throwing motion in those 3 years he sat on the bench that shows me dedication, man. So for them to question his commitment, I wouldn't question his commitment to the game. I just question the relationship he currently has with the Packers right now and how that's a roadblock. And you can tell it's icy on both sides, not just Aaron's side. It seemed to be icy on both sides. Because if it wasn't, they don't draft a quarterback. And if it wasn't, Darren, go ahead and sign this contract. And this is a non-issue. We're not talking about it as a topic. So I think so either you mend the fences some type of way, and that's going to take the Packers. The Packers are going to have to extend that olive branch, not Aaron. The Packers are going to have to extend that olive branch. And if they're willing to do so, then they can move forward. But if not, he's going to be gone. He's going to be gone.
Icon,
Yeah.
I don't think you want another Brett Favre, but I don't think you want him playing for Minnesota or somebody.
Man, yeah, you do not want that. You don't want that, man. You don't.
Short of one of those rivals in the division, so no, they don't want that. Get it?
No, you don't want that. Yeah. So moving on, Naji Harris. So Naji Harris, he was on Adam Schefter's podcast, and he had an analysis. Todd McShay had the draft analysis of him that Adam Schefter read off to him, and basically saying that he improved in the pass game, improved his pass catching. And Najee, took that as a slight because he was like, there's no improvement there. He said, I didn't have the chance before. Now I'm able, to show you what I can do. He said, so, he told him basically he kissed my behind. And I understand, Najee, where he's coming from. He seems like a really good kid. I haven't heard him speak much. He had that story where he drove 9 hours to see his teammates, did that pro day, because he couldn't, the flight was canceled. So, it seemed like a very good kid, but, I'm going to tell him like I tell any young man coming up, let your talent speak for itself. That's your best weapon. Let the talent speak for itself. So just hold on there, big fella. You don't have to really go scorched earth like that. Just let the talent speak for itself.
And everybody got an opinion right now, man. I've even hearing analysts talking about Trevor Lawrence is not this and not that, and the guy went 34-2 in 3 seasons and threw for 10,000 yards. So, it's how you grow your audience by being a little on the opposite side of what everybody is talking about. So, I just think he's got to be a little more thick-skinned, man. I know at Alabama, if you can play at Alabama, in my opinion, you probably could play any one of the 32 NFL teams. So he didn't get to that point if he didn't show his talent. So all he got to do is show his talent, man. There was some speculation that, he didn't run hard before this season and those kind of things. To me, I saw North and South running. I saw a guy can get around and elude and outmaneuver, whatever you want to call it, to get extra yards or whatever. And he showed that he could catch and play in the big game. So he checks all the boxes. So I wouldn't. Who cares what the analyst says? You're gonna. He's the top rated running back in this draft, so that's all he should be concerned about, man. And even of what you just said about driving 9 hours and wanting to be there for his brothers, his teammates. All that's his great character, and all he needs to do is carry it over in the league, man. But all this, about somebody saying this on ESPN and all that, man, who cares?
Who cares?
Get paid and produce, and let's see what you do in 2 years in this league, and do your thing, man. That's for all of them. They're going to be analyzed, scrutinized, and everything. The quarterback to the offensive tackle to the linebackers. Who cares, man? Do what you do on the field. Don't. And I think that bothers guys a little bit too much, that they worry about the chatter and just go and do what you have to do, man. Don't put for the first practice, so to speak. You know what you've done, and all the ratings and all that. The guy can play. You play at Alabama, you play in the SEC, you can play, and you emerge there. you can emerge in the NFL. So do your thing.
Yeah, man.
That's
Yeah,
my
man.
opinion.
So yeah. Najee, just let it go. What's up, Ness? Appreciate you for tuning in. But yeah, just let it fall off your back, man. Because if you think that's gonna bother you, just wait till you get on the NFL team and you don't produce and they done spent the first round pick on you. The think pieces are going to fly, Najee. Okay, they're going to fly and they're going to say a lot of things that you don't like. So you need to be prepared, man. You have to be prepared for that. Hey, do it like Jackie Robinson did. He let his back do the talking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
usually works. You go just let your performance do all the talking, man.
yeah. That's it, man. That's it.
Let the
That's it.
analysts be the analysts. Let the Skip Baileys and all those do what they do. That's what they earn their living, and you do what you do.
Yeah.
I put my
So
money on him that he's gonna have a great NFL career, regardless what they say about his pass catching ability. He's gonna be a
yeah,
great.
yeah. It's gonna be a great one. And then people, you got to remember his junior year, they were too eccentric. I don't think he got enough chance to run the ball enough. If they had ran the offense more through him, he would have had better numbers. And
Yeah,
you seen what he did this past year, where there's no question that yes, you had the Heisman winner, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waller, and all those guys, Mac Jones, but Najee Harris was the straw that stirred the drink. Period.
and
Yeah.
then like every game I saw, he had a broke off a big run, got
Scored
around
multiple touchdowns.
multiple touchdowns, displaying all that talent. So, what make me would think that he wouldn't be able to do that in this league? I mean, come on.
Right. Come on now. Come on. All right. So okay, so I did Aaron Rodgers, Najee Harris. Okay, so we talk about what you say you were currently working on. We're talking about the draft.
Yeah, I'm looking at this. They got so many draft picks that I gotta have a cheat sheet to even talk about. I mean, 10 picks. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm looking at this. They got three fourth round picks, man. I mean, that's three fourths, three in the fourth, two in the fifth. They gave up one seventh round pick to get Malcolm Brown, but they still have a seventh round pick, plus the two that we know about in the first round, and they got the first pick in the second round. And I always say that their biggest weakness is they got to get a tight end. They got to get a catching tight end, and you can never have enough edge rushers. And I would like to even see them get a running back. Maybe not. Maybe if they can get a running back on one of those um, three of the fourth round picks, maybe they can get one in that range, mid.
Mm-hmm.
And they just, I think they did some. They took some good steps on defense, but I think you got to build your offense a little bit better. And I spoke to you before about this, but I don't think they should be done with the offensive line. There's just something about that offensive line concerns me. From
Yeah.
watching them over the last 3 years and knowing the rate of that they get injured, Brandon Linden has not played a full NFL season, I know, since 2017. So they did re-sign Tyler Shatley, but I don't know. And Cam Robinson signed his he signed that
Franchise tag.
franchise tag today. So I still think that position is something they might need to look into in the draft. To add somebody, learn from Cam, but Jawan Taylor, I think, is serviceable. I mean, I think he's done a decent job. He has to improve, obviously, but I don't know. Just something to me. To me, I think you can't sitting on continuity. And I know that John Reid is not a better talent evaluator than Urban Meyer.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen those guys for the last 4 years, man. And all the issues hadn't been just on those quarterbacks and
Nope.
Leonard Fournette and the running backs and the receivers. There's been some issues with that offensive line. And you got 10 picks. And I'm not talking about going out and getting a Division 3 player from like they did last season, where it take them 3 years to get football ready in the NFL. I think they need to get someone. I would even look for a second round pick at the 33rd pick or the 45th pick in the third round and get a sure thing.
Yeah.
And it's not really a strong offensive tackle class, but you're not talking about getting a tackle right now and thrust them into the lineup this season. You're talking about at least grooming them for this year. Then who knows what's going to happen to Cam Robinson? There might be a 1 year and done. And but you got to have somebody in place that can step into that job and give you serviceable, good protection. I'm not concerned about running. Run blocking on that unit is good. I'm concerned about the pass blocking.
yeah. We talked about that a few times.
Technique and shimming off the blocks and just being aggressive and picking up blitzes. And I mean, they're going to throw the Army tank at Jaguars this season coming up to stop this kid at quarterback. So they're going to show multiple fronts. They're going to blitz linebackers. They're going to do all that. And this team has to protect Trevor Lawrence. If you don't protect him and he's hurt, what point have you made? You can be Newt Rockman with the coach, but that's not going to be able to put you in a position to win. So you got to protect him. And I think you got to still work on upgrading that offensive line if you have an opportunity to do that through the draft. And I'm a true believer. You build your team through the draft, not free agency. So that means that Jaguar fans, it won't be 1-15 this season, but I don't think you can expect any more from between 6, 7, or 8 wins for this first year here. But at least they'll be entertaining,
Yeah. So Nesco say these youngsters, soft as G.A. Cotton, can't handle being talked about. They're so disconnected to the struggles of the African American athlete. Yeah, Ness. They gotta grow, man. You have to grow. You say yes, Jags O-line needs help seriously. Yeah, it does. I've seen a few scenarios right now. They said teams in the top 10, a lot of them are looking to trade back. So I think Atlanta at 4. I think Miami's going to stay at 6. I forgot who's at 5, but they're looking to trade back because they already got quarterbacks. So they're not looking to be in the quarterback sweepstakes. So they were saying that if you want Kyle Pitts, if you want Penei Sewell, the tackle, if you want any of those guys, that's your end. If you want to give up capital to go get those guys. And I will say if they want to go get those guys, I'm all for it. Take that 25th pick, maybe take a 3rd and a 4th this year and a 2nd next year or something like that. Nice little package to go up and to go get that tackle or to go get Kyle Pitts or Devontae Smith or whoever it is that you like.
And you have to do that. You have to, and I say this about free agency, and I say the same about the draft. For a team like the Jaguars, I think in the past has always been trying to get that splash name, that big name. And a lot of times they've drafted probably more off the name than the need.
Yeah.
Well, it ain't a big celebration at the draft party to go draft a tackle in the first round. Even though the franchise has done it, it didn't turn out right. But
they say that's not sexy.
Not sexy enough. But 3 years from now, when the guy's having pancake blocks and he's got one of the highest PFF ratings at tackle, and your quarterback is still standing and not injured, then hey, that's the reap of the benefits. But I don't know. I think they got to draft smart, man. They got a lot of picks, and who knows? 10 guys can make this roster as a draft pick. I don't know.
I don't know, man. I know Nesco says 8 wins would be phenomenal for Urban's first season. Yo, Urban wins if it wins 8 games in his first season, and Trevor Lawrence is rookie of the year. Dude, cloud 9. Jacksonville is on cloud 9 because the future is bright. I mean, the future is very bright. And I don't even think it has to get to 8 wins, even if it's 6. If Trevor Lawrence is the real deal, man, it's up from there. It really is, because you'll know that just like with the Chargers right now, the Chargers fans have to be ecstatic with Justin Herbert because you have a really good young quarterback. and you have a team who's really good. They just couldn't finish games last year. Like they, I mean, they literally could not finish games last year, and it was so bad to the point where the Jaguars almost beat them, and Jaguars were terrible. So,
well, I make this prediction. I think Trevor Lawrence is. I don't see anything other than to say that this kid's gonna come in here and he's gonna be a star. Now, the Jaguars need to add more talent around them. You know, they need to get more speed on the field. And as we spoke about, just kind of maybe improving that offensive line a little more.
mm-hmm.
But man, you don't throw 10,000 yards at any Division I school.
Right.
I looked on his thing today. I think 90 touchdowns, and he went 34-2. Even though that's on the college level, that's at Clemson.
Yeah.
Me, Jacksonville has never had a guy coming in here like this kid.
Right. See, Nesco just did a no. I might have to ban Nesco. He brought up Justin Blackman. Don't bring up Justin Blackman, Nesco. Oh my God! Don't bring up Justin Blackman. Oh my goodness! Don't curse us. Don't curse us. Don't curse us. Say who is protecting him? Does Jackson even have an Jacksonville have offensive line to protect this kid? Hey, Carm, how you doing? Hey, yeah, that's what we just talked about, Carm, and saying that the offensive line needs work. They do. They need work. Run blocking, they seem to be very solid. But pass pro, man, it was more than just Minshew and Luton and all of them holding on to the ball, man. They struggled in pass protection. So yeah, we do. We need help on that offensive line.
Andrew Norwell got to play better. Jawan Taylor got to play better, even though this is going into his third year. Cam Robinson got to get the technique down much better. I mean, I thought he regressed from 2018 to now. He's regressed actually, and he's been injury prone. And then you got AJ Kane. I mean, got to get it done, man.
Yeah, you got to get it done. You got to get it done, man. So, okay. So we talked about the draft. So let's switch. We're gonna switch leagues real quick, and we're gonna get into a little bit of basketball, college and pro. But the pro, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. I called you when I had heard about it. We had a nice little laugh about it. But Paul Pierce, and Paul Pierce recently parted ways from ESPN because he went on Instagram Live and one of his videos, and he had exotic dancers in the background and looked to be drug paraphernalia in the room. His eyes were a little low. Looked like he was having a good old time. So, but now since that video came out, ESPN has parted ways with Paul Pierce. And it's strange because Paul, after they parted ways, he said it's all smiles over here. He talked about upcoming a podcast he got coming up, some other ventures he have coming up. So it looks like Paul is in a good space. Me personally, I think he did this. It might not necessarily be on purpose per se, because I'm a conspiracy theorist. But in order to get out of that contract with ESPN, conduct detrimental to the organization or whatever, however you want to call it, I think that's what that's about.
Yeah, and I agree. And another thing is Paul doesn't need the ESPN money.
No, he doesn't.
I thought he's done a good job with saving his money throughout his career. And with the contract so ironed out that there's no way ESPN probably would allow him to an out clause in that contract unless he would have did something to violate a clause in it. But I don't know,
Yeah.
I will say this. I feel that Paul is a smart man. So whatever went on with that, I think he found a solution to the problem. And getting out enough. I've heard he's been offered another job with I can't think of who, but
as soon as the report came out, Barstool, the president of Barstool, basically was like, well, it's time for him to join the team. I'm sure they were on the phone as soon as it happened. But I know Barstool it definitely offered him a job. Hold on, let's see what Carm says. She says, so I'm not a Jacksonville fan, so I'm asking in ignorance, What is going on with the defense? Are they going to be able to hold anybody off? That's a good question, Carm. Carm, that's a complex question.
That's 101 question. Well, they have improved in free agency, but Lord have mercy, they got to stop the run. I mean, you have to. I mean, Malcolm Brown is a good addition that they got from the Saints, but I think their first order of business, they got to be able to stop the run, and then you got to have Shaq Griffin to be great as a corner on the opposite side. This jury, in my opinion, is still out on C.J. Henderson. I think C.J. got to get motivated, and he's got to get tougher, and especially in man-to-man coverage. And these guys give up big plays, and you got to have safeties who can run and don't get beat on plays and misreads and missed tackles and those kind of things. And I think bringing in a guy like Damian Wilson from the Chiefs, I think, it might be some changes at middle linebacker.
It could be. You got to have guys who don't get beat by the jerk route and don't get beat by tight ends up the seam. Oh my God. We got beat on so many jerk routes and tight ends up the seam it makes my stomach hurt, man.
Yeah. And you gotta be fit. You gotta have linebackers. If they go into the 3-4, which they are, then you gotta have physically, you can't rely on the defensive front to have those linemen not on the linebacker. So, Schobert was good in a 4-3 scheme. I don't know how good he is going to be in a 3-4. So Damian might have been the reason that he's a physical player that can take on a block and still make the play. And I don't know if Joe Schobert can do that. Not in the 3-4. Yeah.
Let's see. Carm says, heck no, he's a drug head. Who has drug paraphernalia in the video if they aren't using it? No, Carm, he had it in his hand. He was puffing down, Carm. So no, Paul Pierce was using it. Timothy Wright says, but some other company offered him $250,000. What is that about? Hey, Tim, that's Cam Soda. So Cam Soda's the one who offered Minshew $1 million deal to appear because they're an adult website. They offered Minshew $1 million to come on and partner with them as well. So they offered $250,000 to Paul Pierce. They offered him a position as well. So you know what that's about.
Oh man, yeah. Well, we need to find out what the inner workings at ESPN on why this guy said he'd rather take a chance and bail out of that contract with all that, man.
Yeah. What we delirious about, Carm? She said we delirious. What we delirious about? Hey, we talking about the Jacksonville defense? Because, I'm very delirious when it comes to the Jaguars, Carm. It's nothing logical about it.
I'm delirious when the point that I don't want to see another 1-15 season.
Man.
11 and 6 and 10. I want to see them to go back to 2-17 because it's much easier covering a team when they're winning. And it's much difficult covering one at 1-15. And you hear the same excuses week to week.
Yeah. So she's talking about the drugs and Paul Pierce. Yeah. I mean, but I think he did it on purpose. He's talking about Uncle Paul can smoke freely now. Yeah, he can smoke all he wants to now. Yeah, he can. He definitely can.
But maybe Paul Pierce needs to just go and ride out in the sunset, get out of the public eye, enjoy retirement. He had a great NBA career. And just enjoy life as a retired NBA guy, Yeah. Sometimes that might be the best thing to do for some guys, Everybody can't go on TNT and be Charles Barkley and all those kind of guys, Maybe just do something conducive and make another imprint in another type of profession other than analyzing NBA guys,
Yeah. Right, because Inesco say Paul Pierce, you big dummy. Yeah, because his takes, he has some takes that are always going to keep him popular, because he has this thing against LeBron, which I understand his thing against LeBron. I understand it. I don't go at him for his opinions against LeBron because LeBron was a roadblock for a majority of especially towards the end of Paul's career. You got one on LeBron, but that was it. After that one, he went and got his homeboys and put y'all to sleep. So, hey, it is what it is.
It is what it is. They should have won in '09. They should have won back to back, but they couldn't.
Couldn't.
They
Couldn't
couldn't
do it, man. It was old. It was
Yeah,
old. That's all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were old. That's all.
they couldn't deal with Kobe.
Yeah, no, couldn't deal with Kobe. Definitely couldn't. All right, so let's see. Let's see. Michael Irvin survived his drug run. Oh, come on. Why you bring the playmaker into this, Ness? The playmaker, you giving him unnecessary shots. Say, thanks, cousin. We agree. Speaking of Michael Irvin, I swear, I don't know. Did you ever see that picture of somebody taking a rolled up $100 bill and putting it in the nose of his bust at the Hall of Fame?
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you that picture so you can see it. Dude, it's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious because they take the rolled up dollar bills and you know what they do with it. Yeah, so yeah.
I know somebody that played at Miami when he was there.
Mm-hmm.
The guy was a 24-hour party man in Miami, man.
That's it. That's it, man.
He got in the clubs free more than the Miami Dolphin players.
Wow. All right, so let's move on. Yeah, let's move on. We're gonna talk about so did you see Hubert Brown's press conference and they introduced him as North Carolina's head coach and the backlash he's receiving for some statements he made? He talked about being proud to be an African American, and he said he's proud that his wife is white and he's proud that his kids are mixed. And he's caught a lot of backlash for it, especially in the times we're in now. I understand people going at him, but I always try to look at it objectively and see, what exactly did he mean? Because if he's proud of his wife and he's proud of his children, there's no need to bring their race or their skin color into it. You're just proud of them. But for him specifically to say that, it's kind of hard for me to defend him. But, I just see it as him being proud of his wife and being proud of his children. But for him to bring up, I'm proud that my wife is white. I mean, I got no problem with, dating interracial. If you want to date interracially, go find who you want to find. I think you box yourself in when you eliminate somebody because of the color of their skin, of course. Right. But I also believe that he didn't say, well, I'm proud of my wife because she's a great mother. She's an awesome partner. She's helped me get to this point. He's thankful that, she's white. So I was like, I don't know about that one, man. I don't know.
And I don't know what the context is. To me, he might have was just, the one thing is, and I feel that in my business that I'm in, I don't think anybody want to be judged just on color alone. I mean, I've heard the first part of the press conference, and he was asked, I think the first 3 questions of that press conference was, how do you feel being the first black, basketball coach at UNC and those kind of things. And those are questions. I mean, I wish we can get to a world where everything, is not so much judged on, well, he's the first black, he's this, judge him on what he's doing or what he is. I don't want to ever be judged that I'm the only black journalist at the Florida Times-Union, and because I think it overshadows what you're worth, what you've done, So I don't know if he was trying to be sly and just throw in the race card with his family. I don't know, but I don't know. I just feel in 2021, opportunities need to come, and I'm not talking about the one here, one there. I'm talking about having opportunities for minorities to show their talent, to be hired for their talent, and be based on and judged on their performance, and not just, oh, well, he's the first this and he's the first that, and then a lot of times that get overshadowed so much about, they the first, but let's talk about the 26-4 record. Judging them on the performance, and just I just think this country got to change, man. If you don't think there's a problem in this country with racism and things like that, just watch that trial going on.
Yeah. Just watch it, man. Just watch it. Timothy Wright says, What did that have to do with him becoming the new head coach? I didn't get it at all. Yeah, I don't think it had much to do with it. Let's see. Carm says she see. Yeah, Carm researched that. That happened. Look at his press conference. That did happen. Nesco says, why did he mention all of that? His point is mute, man. Just live in the moment. They already know he's proud of them. Serious head scratcher. Yeah, it is. One thing when I saw that, he say he's the fourth black coach to be the head coach of basically a sports team in North Carolina history. Yeah, in the history of their that and thank you, Mr. John. Thank you. Yes.
In the history of the school, I'm talking about what in college there's at least 22 sports. So the issue is that, like, man, why in the world is a university, the state university, and it's only been 5 minority coaches in the whole history of the school history. We're talking about North Carolina, so we're talking about going back to about 18 something when they started. So,
yeah.
To me, that's the issue, and maybe that's the issue he should have raised. That I'm qualified, and I hope that more people be considered and be for this job that look like me.
Yeah, because when I heard that stat, I didn't think that, oh man, that's nice. No, I thought, oh no, that's a problem, and North Carolina needs to figure that out, because it's not just about black head coaches. That's minority, period. Right. That needs to change, because it's not like you don't have those that are qualified. We've seen in all leagues, professional to collegiate, high school, whatever level it is, there are qualified candidates, at just about every level and every position that you can think of, who are people of color. And opportunity, sometimes it slips from their grasp for whatever reasons. It's like when Eric Bieniemy has gotten passed over for the last 3 years or so. Mm-hmm. I talked about how the Rooney Rule, it needs to be taken out. I personally dislike the Rooney Rule, because I think that what it does is it makes them fill a quota, basically saying that, hey, we have to interview a minority candidate. Well, what happens is, since you already know who you want, so Shad Khan already knew that Urban Meyer was the guy. You can't convince me otherwise. Met him at the Super Bowl. 2 days later, he hires his best friend or one of his buddies, Trent Baalke. That's by design. So he had this in his back pocket the whole time. But he had to interview minority candidates. So he brings Eric Bieniemy in. He interviews him, but he doesn't give Eric a job. So what that happens is Eric now has interviewed job after job after job after job. And now it's saying that, well, now the report is he interviews poorly. Really? He interviews poorly now. That's the problem with Eric Bieniemy now, is that he interviews poorly. So take it out, because all it does, it makes the coach look bad. It doesn't make the team look bad, because all these people you got in front of these people and no one wanted to give you a job, it makes him look bad. But he went into a situation where it was a lose-lose.
And you know what, Brandon, that's the problem. I mean, that's where we need to get to in this country, where, obviously the Rooney Rule isn't working. And not only that, excuses being made now why he hadn't been why he's not been hired as a head coach. And then there's been other people under Andy Reid in the same position, and they've gone on and been a head coach. And I done heard everything that Eric doesn't call the plays, to he doesn't interview, to what? I mean, those are the excuses, man. I think we got to get to a point, and I don't want to preach, but I think we got to get to a point in this country where you're going to be judged on the same rules apply, and obviously right now they're not. I mean, this guy done been on that staff. Patrick Mahomes, you listen to Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. He said, asked him, how much did Eric Bieniemy has helped you as a quarterback? He said, I wouldn't be where I'm at if Eric wasn't here. I mean, what more needs to be said? I mean, what more did he need to be said in an interview to convince somebody that the guy is ready to be a head coach? we can all we made excuses for a long time.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I've heard things like, well, everybody deserves a fair shot, but everybody doesn't get a fair shot. I mean, when it's going to come the time where everybody, if they're qualified, just look at the NFL. The NFL got to put a rule in to get minority candidates to be hired for a head coach. I mean, that pretty much says it all, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Hey, that's why I love Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians pretty much took a dump on the rest of the coaching or the rest of the NFL teams. He said it's not hard to hire minority coaches. He said I did it. He said I hired these people because they're good.
Yep.
Let's see. Nesco said it is sad that the phrase is still being said in 2021. It shows how much African Americans have been overlooked, disregarded, and not even considered in every aspect of life in America. Well said, Ness. Carm said that's sad. Yeah. He said maybe they won't do him like they did Penny Hardaway. I think I remember how the Penny Hardaway situation. He said he should be a coach already. Yeah, he should be, Carm. He says when white America don't give us what we've earned, then they do the detrimental thing and label us negatively. I mean, they labeled him negatively. They have. He said, and Tampa Bay showed us black coaches can do it. Yeah, I mean, Bruce Arians has showed you that. I mean, that's what it is. He said that's not hard to do. He said Bruce Arians said the hardest staffers for him to hire were the women that he hired. He said that was the hardest part. He said hiring the black coaches that he did hire and the minority coaches that he did hire. He said, I already knew those guys. They know football and they're good at what they do. That was easy. He said hiring the women was a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, but they need the NFL need more coaches like Arians. They need more coaches who's willing to give and take a chance, if you want to call it that, but give people an opportunity. Because my problem is this, what is it going to be like for the people behind us and like the kids coming up?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, should that problem not be a problem 20 years from now? My parents, your parents, and their parents before that, they kind of been like the same conversation over the last 60, 70 years. So my question is, like, when is this going to stop?
When?
For the people coming up behind us to the people who was in front of us, we all engaged in the same problem. I mean, this country got to move to a point where if you overcome, you went to school, you own a staff, you learn, you showing your effort as a coach, you grasping, you asking questions, you building yourself up to be a head coach, and you on the staff of, they got black head coaches on staff that have been on staff for 10, 12 years and some haven't even got an interview for a head coach. Something wrong with that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And it ain't just football. We can go almost into any profession and we're dealing with the same issue.
Oh yeah, NBA is a big one too, man. Shoot, college football has an issue with that as well. Our representation there is laughable. And one thing if you didn't know, over the last 5 years, you should know emphatically is that representation does matter. It really does.
Diversity matters. Believe me.
Yeah.
You have to have a diverse workforce. We live in a country that's diverse, so the workforce should reflect what the country look like. We can't live in a box here where and it ain't all about everybody got to go to college and be this and that. If you're doing what you're supposed to do on your job, and you're not being looked at as a promotion, then something is wrong with it. And that's a problem too,
Oh yeah.
But we got to stop living in this glass box where we talk, the conversation is equality and diversity, and then the action doesn't show what the word is. The promises are there, but the actions are not being reflective of the promise. And it's got to be, how much, it's 2021. People were marching in the streets 12 months ago,
Yeah.
They were marching in the streets for a reason. We just want to live. I hear this from people all the time, like, are we angry? Black people are angry, or why? They're not angry. We just want to be treated fairly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A head
Yeah.
coach put in the work. He want to be recognized for the work. He doesn't want to be complacent and just stay in the same job and everything is okay. I'm an assistant for the last 20 years and just feel like that's a satisfaction. No, they want to be at the top of the mountain. They want their talents recognized, just like an NBA player. NBA player wouldn't be satisfied with being in the minor leagues for 15 years if he averaging 25 points and 15 rebounds.
Right.
So we
Yeah.
gotta, things gotta change. I don't mind speaking publicly. I done spoke publicly on my Twitter page. I feel diversity is something that needs to be taken serious in all aspects. If you a police cop to journalists to NBA to whatever,
Yeah.
everything should be diverse. And
Yeah.
you should walk into places where the people you work with, a percentage of them look like you.
Yeah. Shoot, if you are a company in, say, let's say you're a company here in Jacksonville,
Mhm.
and you know that you have a pretty sizable minority population in this city.
Mhm.
Why, when it comes to your company and you want to talk about marketing and things like that, your room, whoever's in that room, it needs to be diversified, because who's going to know? Black people know how to market to black people.
Mhm.
Hispanic people know how to promote to advertise to Hispanic people. It's the same across pretty much all color lines. Is that those people know their people the best, and to have those opinions and have them be able to chime in and be able to give you direction on said things. I mean, it's very, very helpful. I mean, Paula Dean doesn't get where she is if she ain't got those other taste buds in the kitchen with her. You know what I'm saying? There's some black people in that kitchen,
Well,
tasting that chicken. She might have called them some things while they were in the kitchen, but they were in the kitchen.
but yeah, I agree with you. And if a company takes diversity serious and exercise diversity, then that company is going to be one who excels in whatever the profit is. You can't sell a product if you don't know what what we want,
Mm-hmm.
what we like, what we don't like. You got to hear the voices, but to cater to our needs. You know,
Right.
and it's not about so much power, but it's just about we have to live in a 2021 where everybody's voice is being heard and not just one side of the stick here, only one side being heard. America can't, and even us as a black people, we're not going to settle for that. And I don't want to get into political thing, but it's just sometimes it just get frustrating, man.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm an older man. I'm 56 years old, man. I
Yeah.
done seen a lot over 5 decades, and I would like to see my children see something different than me.
Yeah. Yeah. Nesco say one thing is for sure: we as African Americans cannot, under any circumstance, stop fighting for what we've earned in this country. The struggle is real and infinite, so the fight must match the struggle. Yeah, I mean, satisfied for what? I said. Remember, I think me and Nesco talked about it. I said when all this social justice stuff kicked off. I
Mhm.
mean, putting Black Lives Matter on the court or in the end zones of football and basketball games does nothing for me. It does absolutely nothing for me. Those are just words you're putting on the court.
Right.
Kneeling for the national anthem. I mean, it's upset people as people were, which was so stupid. I mean, it all it does, it has sparked conversation. It did get a splash, but as far as now, like kneeling is nothing now. I mean, it's normal now. So those things, those are just gestures. I got a coworker named Claude, and his buddy of mine, and he always talk about. He said, "You know what I hate when they say let's start a dialogue. We've been dialoguing for hundreds of years now.
Yeah.
Can we get some action, please? Can I get some action?"
And that's where it should be at right now. It should be action. It should be.
For real, Tim.
I'm tired of hearing promises. I want to see things. I listen to a promise, but I want to see, like, well, when is this promise going to turn out to be a truth? You know,
Yeah.
Been promising a long time, man. I mean, I want to see results, and everybody else do. You know, we can't just sit back and just say, okay, well, they can, you know, our needs are being met by us being told a promise, and then we don't see the promise. You be in retirement age, and you're still waiting on that promise.
Right.
America got to do better, man. I mean, we sit here and we'll have this same conversation 20 years from now, but America got to do better. You know, you gotta make this country into a place where everybody has an equal chance to be successful, man, and you know, feel like they have just the same opportunities as the next person sitting next to them. And right now, this country can't truthfully say that. You know, it's like we're talking about in sports. You know, a Rooney Rule is a Rooney Rule. I mean, a Rooney Rule is that, hey, anybody that you look for a head job as a coach, then you have to have at least one or two minority candidates that you have to interview. So that's more tokenism than actions. I mean, even though I feel that, you know, it might be a move in the right direction, but look at the results since it's been in place and see if the numbers has improved, and really they haven't.
Nope. No, they haven't. They haven't. No, Ice Cube talked about that and how the wealth gap hasn't changed in 50 years. You know, we haven't made any progress towards it. And just thinking about, you know, like you said, more action instead of talking about it. You need more action. One of the things that's going to force America to change and change drastically, and it's being talked about a little bit, but it's going to come more to the forefront as time goes on, and that's the declining birth rates here in this country. The birth rates are falling all over the world, but specifically in this country, the birth rates have fallen. Hey, because Western people, number one, it's already hard out here taking care of yourself, so they don't want to bring kids into it. You know, they call them the selfish because we don't want to have kids. Us millennials, we're not popping out the kids like our mothers and fathers and grandfathers and grandmothers did. So as birth rates decline, you don't have enough to replenish the workforce. So what is your options? You got to let immigrants in. So at that point, hey, now you're going to be your majority in this country. Your numbers are going to dwindle because your kids are not replacing you at a steady rate. And now you got immigrants coming in. You're going to be forced to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
He say some people it's hard to live in 2021 when some people have a 1950 mindset. Yeah, Timothy.
Well, that's true. I mean, and I don't know. You can have all the conversations.
Yeah,
it's not going to change everybody, but
no,
we got to do something that's better. We can't just sit back and just say, okay, everything's good. You know, we got to not be so complacent. You know, things have to change. And even back, I mean, I'm a history buff. So you go back to the 60s, there were promises in the 60s with the civil rights movement that, the whole point was change. You know, they put in the Voting Rights Act, they put in the Fair Housing Act, and they put in the Voting Act. But, you know, it took time for those things to happen. But if you look at 1965 and look right now in 2021, if you really think about it, is a lot of the look at the law that they got in Georgia. You can't pass water to somebody standing in line to vote. I mean, come on, man.
Come on.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. Appreciate that, Ness. Yeah, man. Hey, the people don't want to talk. When I talk to people about that, people look at me like, you know, they like a deer caught in headlights. Huh? Oh, I haven't heard about that. I was like, yeah, man, do your research. It's going to be an issue going forward. It is. I say, and if any of those who are prejudiced or they're racist against other cultures and things like that, be prepared because more will be coming over the next 20 to 30 years because that will happen. Yeah. You say, yes, John, I love history myself. Say, Tim, say, John, they're trying to reverse everything you just mentioned. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why there's a problem.
That's a problem.
There's a problem.
That's a problem, man. It's a problem, man.
You go vote, you you turn the lever and you vote and you do what you're supposed to do, and apparently everybody did that. Now it's a problem. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. But man, this was good, man. We done did an hour already, man. Doesn't even feel like it, man. This when you have fun, you don't work a day in your life. I'm just saying. This is just
no, you don't.
this,
When you have good conversation too, that impacts. We could talk about a whole lot of things, but I like this because it's we're talking from the heart. We're not talking from a script. We're not talking
right.
like I'm not scared by what I say because I'm living that where I feel what I said. And I done said it on my Twitter page. I believe diversity should be in every corporation, every business. And if it's not, then something wrong with the business,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think dialogue, conversation, being truthful, I think it has to happen. I think more conversations like this, more Facebook lives or whatever it takes to get people to understand that change has to happen, for the better.
Yeah, Tim Wright. He said when it doesn't work for them, they have to make changes or revisit and revise what is already written. Yeah, they do, because just think about it this way too. Before we get out of here, if you're a business and you have a product to sell, or you got something to move, or you got to cater to certain groups, it's bad business for you not to expand it for all groups, because like you can't, like if you only have a certain segment of people. As far as marketing and people who putting the product out, they can only market to those people. But I want, when I get where I'm going, I want the black dollar, I want the white dollar, I want the Asian dollar, I want the Hispanic dollar, I want the Middle Eastern dollar, I want the Indian dollar. I want all dollars. It doesn't matter. Whatever product I put out there, I want people to consume this content and pay into it. It does not matter to me. So, but in order to do that, I need to know, okay, how can I market this to those groups to get them to come up off that wallet? That's what we need.
Mm-hmm. Like,
and that's just business.
Yeah, all people should be served. Shouldn't be served. Everybody should be served. That's America. You look at America, immigrants came from all over Europe to come to the United States.
Yeah.
That's what this country is a melting pot. So there's no one segment is like more important than the other.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in today. Another good talk, man. Hey, we'll be back at this probably sometime next week. We'll get in some more talks, and what I really want to do too is because I know next week I'm going to do a show with my trainer and a guy I've known since I was little. But we're going to talk about masculinity and how we pretty much have a masculinity crisis in this country. Let alone our community, but the country, period. And talk about how it has affected today's men, especially our young boys. Man, our young boys are so lost, without direction, and they're full of anger, rage, and testosterone, and that's not a good recipe for kids who don't have things to channel that energy into and direction and where to go. Because that's like giving a kid dynamite and a lighter and saying, "All right, good luck, little buddy. I'll see you later." It won't help, man. It won't help. Let's see. So yes, excellent time, fellas. Be well and be blessed. Hey, Ness, man, you get better, man. Get better.
Yeah.
Get better, man. But man, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. I got more videos coming next week. About to do some more interviews coming up. I'm kind of trying to figure out a name for one of my segments that I'm going to do, but I'm interviewing just about any and everybody I can. So coming up first is going to be a few music artists, local kids here in Jacksonville who are really good at what they do, and I'm gonna promote their music and basically have a nice conversation with these young men and just encourage them and let them know, hey, keep going, regardless of what heights you reach. What you want to do is be able to look in the mirror and be satisfied with what you see, and be proud of what you see when you look in that mirror. Yeah, Tim Wright, appreciate that, man. All right, man. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, like I said, man. But hey, we'll talk to you later, man. Peace out.
Brandon, take care.